Attorney Jerome Gay. Live TV talk on your digital device, on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV. Download the SVP TV app right now. Check us out every Tuesday on Comcast Cable, Channel 17, 8:30 p.m. And we are live every Friday on Facebook Live, 6 o'clock in the evening. You've got a question, our attorneys have the answer. So let's talk law with Attorney Daryl O'Neill on the SVP TV network.
Welcome to Talking Law with Daryl O'Neill. I'm your host. I got my main man Jerome with me.
What's up, Daryl?
Man, another day in the neighborhood. Man, it's good to be back on the live.
Thank you.
Forecast.
Yes.
So let's go ahead and give our shout outs, man.
Okay.
So shout outs to, my son came back from California, so shout outs, but I'm gonna still give his California shout out.
Okay, cool.
Shout outs to California. Shout out to Arkansas, Little Rock. Shout outs to West Memphis, Arkansas.
Okay.
Shout out to Memphis, Shelby County. Shout out to my family at the great state of Mississippi. Shout out to my other family in the great state of Missouri. Shout out to Jerome's family in the great state of Tennessee.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Thank you for watching the show. Hey, if you got Fire Stick, Roku TV, Apple, the SVP TV network app, you can watch live. And if you watch live, Jerome, you see the phone number will be up there in a little bit. If you watch live, you can call in and ask any questions, and regardless of whatever topic we're talking about, we will answer your question.
In real time.
In real time.
In real time.
So, and then, if you don't remember that this show also plays a rewind, or it actually, the show itself plays on channel 17 on Tuesdays
That's
at
right.
8:30.
That's exactly right.
Okay. So, Jerome, it's time to go to the next level. And we got to get back to bankruptcy.
Daryl, we're so excited. The Memphis Bar Association Bankruptcy Division are pleased to announce that Attorney Daryl O'Neill will be presenting a live seminar virtually on July the 17th from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock with 1 hour of CLE credit.
Yeah.
Daryl O'Neill himself.
Hey, so you gonna get
excited.
You gonna get some education,
Whoa.
and it's gonna go towards your legal education.
Your requirements, your 12 hours of what? General.
12 general and
then 3
3
hours of ethics.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, Daryl, Judge Bernice Donald is also going to be presenting on our annual seminar, which is August the 9th, from 8 till about 4:30 at the law school.
Oh wow! So she's gonna do 8 a.m. to 4?
No, she's only on 3. She's at 3 o'clock.
Oh,
From 3 to 4, she'll be there.
Okay, but the seminar is from 8 to
8 to about 4:30 or 5.
Okay.
Also, Judge Henderson from General Sessions Court will be there.
We had her on before.
Yeah, Bruce Harris will be there too.
Okay.
There's a new thing concerning evictions here in Tennessee. There, Judge Henderson made an announcement that there were 60,000 evictions in the state of in Memphis prior to the pandemic, and so and that number has continued. So the people are trying to find some reasons and avenues to try and reduce that number, because if it's 60,000 individuals, that doesn't count men, women, and children. Remember, they said Jesus fed 5,000 men. That doesn't count women and children. Well, it's the same thing when someone is evicted. So tonight, if you don't mind, since it's in my area.
Oh yeah, yeah.
If I would take the lead,
Absolutely.
We're going to talk about the one thing I tell people all the time. Sometimes when they come to me, they have issues, and I tell them the only thing that will get your back from being against the wall is a bankruptcy. And sometimes people will say things like, well, my lawyer didn't tell me I was filing bankruptcy. My lawyer told me I was doing A, B, C, Ds. And sometimes that works there. Sometimes you can have a settlement with your creditors. The first thing is never ignore it.
Right.
Always respond somehow. And sometimes you can come up with a settlement. Sometimes it's not even your debt. So you ask for the original creditor. Am I in the right? Am I in the room there?
Man, you are not in the room, man. You knocking it out the room. And here's the thing, Jerome. What people don't realize is, and I don't want to sound racist, man. So bear with me, man.
You playing the race card there.
Well, we as people of color, man, because that's me too. We as people of color have a tendency to be complacent about the things that we don't need to be complacent about.
We are so used to being mistreated, abused, denied, and so we always say many times is, they're going to do what they want to do anyway. How many times have you heard that?
Well, and again, and I'm digressing.
Right.
But one of the things that's always bothered me, right, is that people of color are harder on other people of color than anybody else.
No question.
And so if we were just as hard on everybody else as we are on people of color, we would make society recognize us.
There, and you're exactly right.
Yeah.
And so people, what Daryl O'Neal and Jerome Payne are saying to you tonight, the one place that you ought to demand and expect to be treated equally,
humanely,
and fairly,
exactly,
is in a courtroom.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm gonna tell you, there was a time, man, before I became a lawyer, I didn't know no better. And they used to see Lady Justice.
Yes.
And we used to say, and the reason why she has the blindfold on is because the rule is justice is blind.
That's right.
And before I got into the legal system, I used to say, well, it's blind for everybody but black people. She got her eye pulled up, looking out when it's involving black people. That's what I used to say before I became a lawyer. But now that I'm a lawyer, man, I really see that it's not that justice has her eye looking up when you're black.
Right.
We become complacent.
Oh my God.
And we decide that we're not going to take that next step.
There you go.
Because all you have to do, and I hear the judge say this every time I'm in court, even when I'm sitting in there just listening, and I want to jump up and say something so bad, man, but I know it's inappropriate.
Right.
The judge will say to them, Mr. Payne, I want to ask you one question. Do you agree with the debt?
Oh, yeah.
And do you agree or disagree?
You sound like Judge Donald. Because Judge Donald would go through the whole spiel, wouldn't he?
Do you agree or disagree with the debt?
Yeah.
And then if you say you disagree, just say you disagree, and I'll give you a court date.
That's right.
And then you can talk to this lawyer over here and get them to give you the paperwork to show you what it is that you need to see.
And what happens there, again, just like you say, people of color, they're like sheep. We call them sheeple, because if the first person comes before the court and says, I agree, what happens in there?
It's like a
snowball.
It's like a assembly line. Everybody
behind them says, I agree.
Yeah.
And then when they get outside of the courtroom, they start wondering, what the heck happened?
Or 10 years later, they say, well, they renewing the judgment. That was never my debt. Dude, the time to say it wasn't your debt was 10 years ago when you were in the courthouse and the judge asked you, sir, do you agree or disagree?
And you got only 10 days. That's 10 calendar days and not 10 work days. Yeah. If you failed, well, you got one reprieve. Because if the 10th day falls on a Sunday or the weekend
or a holiday, you got one
more day.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is what? You got 10 days.
You got 10 days.
Now,
and you shouldn't wait 10 days.
No, absolutely.
I mean, if they rule something against you think is wrong, you should walk your butt over to the hallway and take care of that right there.
And there, I'm so distressed about what I see happening in our community. We are absolutely going back at least 20 years in our community because we're not standing up for our rights. And just like you said, I agree. No, you don't agree. You don't even know you don't know who the credit, because you look there.
They bought the paper.
There you
It
can't
ain't even them.
You can't know who it is
It ain't even
because
them.
it's from a company you don't have no
You
idea.
ain't never heard of that
It's
company.
PRC Receivables.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
somebody, a Covenant Associates.
Yeah.
It's something else. So how
Prove
can
it.
you agree? You don't even know who this company is. So you certainly don't know who the original credit was.
And then let me tell you what they do, though, Jerome. Then they bring the paperwork and they send it to you because they've done it to me.
Right.
Send me the paperwork, and then they'll say, "Here it is," and that ain't my client.
Right.
Well, she signed it. Man, that's not my client's signature. I don't know who that person is. So now they can't connect the dots.
That's right.
You know.
Well, I think the rule came down that they don't have to present.
Well,
Tell me about the new rule.
Well, it's not really new, but the statute.
Right. Okay.
It used to be that they had to authenticate it,
That's right.
and they could not. The company that bought the paper could never authenticate
That's
it
right.
because it's not their records.
That's right.
It was somebody else's record, so it can't be kept in the course of business records.
That's right.
And I use that at least 5 or 10 times. You know, I said, Yana, I object to that record coming in. And she said, what's your best? I said, Yana, it's hearsay.
Yeah.
And then so it's a business record. I said, Yana, it's impossible to be a business record. It may be their business record,
Right.
but it's not the company that my client may have done business with business record.
Absolutely.
And then they changed the rule, and they said that they don't have to make that connection.
Well, who changed the rule?
Oh, the legislators.
Big-
Yeah, the legislators, man.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that we know that there are options available for you when your back is against the wall on a debt. Now, what that means is that once a judgment goes in and the judgment becomes final after 10 days, they can use any means necessary
Man,
to
they
collect
go,
the debt.
man, woo.
They can come after your paycheck. That's usually the first thing.
Yeah.
That's called a garnishment. So they send a letter to your employer telling them that we have a judgment. Start deducting funds from your
No.
from the check.
No, they don't, Jerome.
Okay.
They send a summons to your employer.
Okay.
Because a letter wouldn't even make no action. They send a summons to your employer, ordering your employer.
There, you are so correct.
Yeah, because they got to say something that's official that orders them.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I kind of got loose with the language. and sometimes we do that there.
Yeah.
And I told a lady the other day. In fact, I just told somebody today. He kept saying, all of my creditors. I said, hold it. Not all of your creditors will receive zero. The unsecured creditors. Well, that's not what I said. I want to make sure we understand the language, because you'll come back and tell me, Mr. Payne, you said all of my creditors. So language is very important. So now that the judgment is taken against you, now that they've sent the subpoena to your employer demanding that they take the money out of your check. Well, look, now here's another key. When your employer receives the summons from the court to start deducting money from your check, they don't have to start sending money immediately out of your check, which is what many of them do.
Right.
All they have to do is send back a notice within 10 days to tell them that we have funds,
Yeah.
and we are going to respond.
Right.
This gives you a chance to start taking advantage of the things that will help you to prevent your check from being garnished. Right?
And here's the thing. I'm glad you said that, Jerome. If you're a business owner, you need to be paying attention.
Oh,
when
my
you
God.
get that. Because number one,
I was going there, but go ahead. You go ahead and take it.
number
Take
one,
it and go.
you need to be paying attention. Because if they send a garnishment to you and the employee no longer works for you, you cannot be complacent.
That's right.
You have to. That is an official document from
That's
the
right.
court system, and it requires you to take action. So you have to say that person does not work here, or that person's a 1099 employee.
That's right.
You don't have funds on them, and then you need to write that in a document and send it back to the court.
I
system.
think you can do it right on the document that they send. I think
And
there's a place to do it on there.
It is. You can send on there, write on a document. But you not only you can't write it, you got to send it back to the court.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, you-
and failing to do so.
Oh my God, failing ain't good. Failing to do so ain't good.
You are now responsible for whatever it was that the employee owed to the creditor.
Right.
10,000, 15,000, and that we discovered the other day, even though General Sessions jurisdictional limit is 25,000, you can wind up owing more than that in General Sessions. It blew your mind when you first discovered that, didn't it?
Yeah, and a lot of it's because I didn't realize that there's no cap on, because they got the exclusive jurisdiction on
Right.
on
landlord tenant, right.
So there's no cap on
That's
landlord
right.
tenant.
That's right. So you sitting there saying, you sitting there saying, this is wrong, Your Honor.
Mm-hmm.
You can only go 25,000. Good thing you didn't jump up and say that.
Oh no, I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything.
But in your mind, you were saying.
I'm like, and I'm trying to figure out what to say.
Right.
But I didn't say anything.
Good.
And the client was there, and I said, "You owe that money?" Yeah. I was like, okay. I said, well,
right.
Let me look at something. I said, because I may have a loophole.
Right.
Let me look at something.
Right.
And I went and looked at that thing. I felt like Boo Boo the Fool.
No.
I was like, man.
You can always learn something new, O'Neal.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So we got a question, Jerome.
Okay, good.
So, a family friend signed a house loan for us. Now we want to sell the house, but he wants 50% of the money. I want to note I am not a legal citizen of the United States. That is why our family friend offered to get the house. We have lived in it for more than 2 years. We have had some problems with work, and we decided one of our options was to move states. I let the friend know we were looking to sell, and we would give him what they would tax us so it wouldn't affect his credit. An inspector came to the house to give me the estimate of how much it was worth. Once they told me, I decided I didn't want to sell it after all, since my kids didn't want to move. But my friend decided to go ahead and work with a realtor behind my back now. He and his wife said they wanted 50% of the earnings. They started the process of selling the house, and it has a lock on it. I know legally the house is under his name, but I made all the payments and work on house improvements. This is such a sad text. This is extremely sad.
Without a doubt. And not only is that sad, but we see a lot of immigrants and people who may or may not be in the country legally get taken advantage of, because that's what I hear.
Yeah,
I hear that.
This is an extremely sad text.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
And I got to tell you, we got one a couple of weeks that were pretty sad.
Yes.
But this is right now is probably one of the saddest ones I've read in a long time.
I agree.
So the court and the law deals in documents. And the way that the mortgage rules work, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Jerome, the way the mortgage rules work is that in order to own a piece of property, you have to have a contract, a deed, or something that transferred that property into your name. Here's what's the biggest swindle ever. People were buying properties, they were using other people's names to buy the property, and then they would get the property using other people's name and other people's credit, and then they would let them move in the property and rent it to them. And the property was actually in their name. This is a reverse of that. This person, again, I don't see, one of the things I was looking for is I don't see anything where a down payment was made, or I don't see anything that he can prove that he was entitled to anything. Because other than this, what this document says, what this says to me is he was a renter.
And it's almost the very same thing as a person who does a car the same way.
Yeah.
And people could probably understand a car more so than a mortgage, because title is important. That's the owner.
Right.
It's whoever name is on the title.
Right.
By the same thing, whoever's name is on the contract is in fact the owner, of the house.
And even though that there is no rental agreement or leasing agreement or landlord-tenant agreement, then what ends up happening is he is still a tenant.
I think that's absolutely.
Yeah, he's a tenant.
Absolutely correct.
And you know, the argument that he's made that I've been fixing up on a house and doing all his work, well, most of these landlord contracts require the tenants to be responsible for all the maintenance.
But there, you know, as always, this is, to me, this is a clear chancery court action.
It is.
That can possibly change the outcome. You know, and we do it all the time, Darryl. We say the black letter law says what? He's out.
He's out. Yeah.
But then the saving grace is you can maybe go to Chancery, because Chancery is a court of law, but it deals with equity,
right,
which means what's right and fair. So if you can give a chancellor something to put the grab on, and I just saw where Chancellor Cowles is probably
where Newsom's taking over.
Yeah. And then a couple of judges are sitting in for him now in the morning times.
Yeah, my daughter was saying that, but
Joe Towns out of probate.
Towns and then Mark Ward.
That's right, a city.
But I think I read something where the governor appointed Jim Newsom to that court now.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Okay, no, I didn't know that.
You know, Jim used to be the chancellor in Part 3.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so Jim, Joe Dave
warned
beat him out.
No, I did not see that. But anyway, back to this unfortunate, well-meaning, a person who was trying to do something good for his family wound up in a trick bag. That's what it sounds like. So, but this also offers us an opportunity to teach there. Lawyers are always you know what, we're counselors, we are attorneys, but we also are teachers.
Yeah.
So this is the opportunity to teach you never, ever to be involved in any contractual agreement without having paper.
Yeah, let me just say this. Nobody wants to spend the money to have a conversation with a lawyer. And you know, and one thing that we offer on this show is we give you an opportunity to have a conversation with a lawyer at no cost.
That's right.
I mean, shucks, 2 years ago, he could have called into this show.
That's exactly
and
right.
answered this question, and I would have said, dude, don't do that.
That's exactly right.
I would say, man, hey, man, do
well, not necessarily don't do it.
Don't do it that way.
Don't do it that way, that's right.
Yeah,
that's
if
right.
you want to do that, why don't you spend some money?
That's right.
Get an agreement.
That's right.
Get that agreement put in place.
That's right.
And, you know, turn this into like a lease purchase agreement.
Well, actually, you could do the purchase and do a quick claim deed, and just hold on to it, and once the event is cured, is done, then you can file it.
Yeah, you know, or make the person
have
you as a co-signer. I mean, there's a lot of different ways that you do this.
That's exactly right.
But when you let this person, because here's what happens. If Jerome, you can't do this in the law because it's illegal.
Right.
But if I say, Jerome, here's my law license. You can use my law license to practice law.
Right.
And then you do something wrong under my name.
Right.
Should I be absolved of that?
Absolutely not.
Well, most people would think that.
No, absolutely
I didn't
not.
do it.
No.
Jerome did it. I let Jerome use my license.
Right.
Well, if you do illegal things or things that are not proper, then what ends up happening is the court is not going to reward you for doing things inappropriate.
Oh, there's something in the law called clean hands.
Unclean hands.
Yeah. So he who seeks justice must do so with clean hands.
Yeah. And it's kind of funny, Jerome, that you said that. I was in court, you know, a couple months ago, and a lawyer was seeking to disqualify me as a lawyer on a case. Now, first off, I don't think he really had any grounds to disqualify.
Right.
You know, and you know,
I can understand why he didn't want you on the case.
I actually said that to the judge. I said that to the judge. I said, Your Honor, with all due respect, I wouldn't want me on other
That's
side
right.
in this type of case because
you're going to wear him out.
Well, it's ecclesiastical.
Okay.
You know, and I have the law of the land
Oh,
ecclesiastical.
yeah, right.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, I'm the
You're the church man.
I'm the church man. You know, so the Supreme Court, I have the reigning Supreme Court opinion.
That's right.
On ecclesiastical matters.
Right.
So he says to me that I have met with one of the other people that is now a defendant. I'm sorry, there was a plaintiff.
Okay.
And he is true. He's correct. But the rules have changed. The rules now say that I can meet with you, Jerome, as a client on a limited matter, but I cannot, unless if I've learned some confidential information from you.
That's a different story.
I can't use that confidential information against you in another matter.
I got you.
Or I can't get information from you and then use that information to defend another case.
That's right.
You know, that's just not proper.
Right.
Well, what that person did is I had a receipt. My office receipted them. They took the receipt that my office gave them, changed the information on the receipt to make it look like that I had gave them advice on a matter that I did not give them advice on.
He should go to jail for that.
So, dude makes his argument, and I said, all I want you to do is just, here's my problem. That's not, I gave you I brought my receipt book in. I brought the original receipt.
Yeah, to show.
I brought all of that.
Because it's duplicates, right?
Duplicates. I said, Your Honor, that's not my receipt.
Good deal there.
And the judge was like, we don't need to go no further. Explain to me why your client forged this receipt. And then she said, the court cannot help you clean your unclean hands. It's you unclean hands.
So this was just a regular everyday. It was not a lawyer who did that, was it?
It wasn't the lawyer that did the work. It was a lawyer who was trying to get me.
The lawyer was presenting
that, and I said to the lawyer,
that
I said to the lawyer, that's not my. I told the lawyer that wasn't my receipt. Yeah.
And they still pursued it.
They still pursued it.
Oh my
And
goodness,
the only reason why I bring that up, the person that sent me this text, the only reason why I bring that up is you as a non-citizen was using something inappropriately to obtain.
I don't think I agree with that, Dan.
Look, Jerome, look. It may not be true.
I don't think I agree with that.
But it gives the impression.
Well, I got you.
It gives the impression
I got you.
that you were doing something that you could not do yourself.
I got you.
To get something.
You know what, Darren? You are absolutely right. You couldn't do it on your own, and you couldn't do it the legal way, so you tried to find another path.
You found a surrogate.
I got you.
And be finding that surrogate,
I got you.
There's a question of whether you should be rewarded.
You're right.
For inappropriately doing this.
I got you. I can see that.
But this is an absolute sad scenario. And let me just tell you, do not give somebody your money without getting something in writing to identify what the terms is, because the court has to deal with the four corners of the contract.
I love that.
Yeah, and if they don't, if they don't deal,
I love that.
I'm not doing women's shapes. I'm doing the four corners of the contract.
I love that.
All right, y'all.
Good job, Mr. O'Neal.
We talked a lot of stuff today. Man, y'all wasted it up. Y'all wasted another opportunity to get some free legal advice. But anyway, thank you again for watching the show. We'll see you back next week.
Can you actually imagine hosting
Yeah,
your next
I see where
event
you're
at the
going
all-new
with that.
SVP
But
Banquet and Event Center?